Okay, well, good afternoon everybody. Once again, welcome back to the plot. As you can see, I'm doing my little 6x4 at home. It's a little bit bright at the moment. Overcast outside, but it's nice inside, yeah. No heating on yet. This is a job I'm going to tackle in a fortnight's time. I've got all the glassware to clean down, and of course I've got my linings to put up. I've got my light to fit back up. And I've got the heating to sort out. I need to check all the electrics on the heat bed long before I even think about starting it. And of course we'll come to the end of August now, we're into September next week, so ideally I like to have this ready for October if I want to put any early leeks in or early onions in. I don't know whether I'm going to bother for next year or not. I have got stock. I've got stock leek seed and I've got stock onion seed, but it's just been so challenging this year that we'll see how it goes anyway, and we'll decide at the end of next month which way to go. But for the time being, the stacks that we're getting on with, I've just received this morning me seeds from Sutton's, from King's. I get from both, from 2 or 3 different companies, but for the big stuff and I like to use the King's. And of course I've got me onions for next year. I've got Globo, I'm going to try them out. And I've got me red mammoth. We love red onions, so I'm going to give the red mammoth a try. A lot of people don't grow the red because they're easy bolted, but there is a way around that. And of course with the Jap onions, I've sent away from the Jap onions. I've just come this morning. Postman just been here, so I'm over the moon with that. I haven't even opened the packet yet. To me it's Christmas Day all over. There's my favourites. That's the yellow. The yellow Japanese ones. There's 2 packs of them, and there's my red ones. Red electric, it grows every year. Now if you want a good onion, if you're using a Jap onion, do not let them dry out. That's one of the main things of them bolting. Even in the winter, people might think I don't have to water the onions, but believe you me, if you get some winds blowing across the garden and it's dry weather, they'll bolt. And of course these are the white ones that we used last year. Nice little onions. I'll just get me paper out and make sure I've got everything on. Yes, the Century Yellow and the Snowball. Well, the Snowball will grow in the trays on the front of the polytunnel last year, and they grew really well, and they're nice, lovely big onions. So I'm going to put them in the trench outside this year. As long as the Century Yellow, they're lovely big onions. They're nice and firm. 2 packs of them, so we'll get 2 good rows of them. We'll get a good row of the white, and we'll get 1 good row of the red. So that's 4 rows of Jap onions in the big bed where the potatoes were in the Ziri. Now we're just taking the Ziri up this week. Fantastic crop. I'll show you when we get up the plot. There's some lovely big potatoes amongst them. So with that plot of land, what we're going to do, we're going to muck it. Normally I don't bother with the Jap onions, I don't bother mucking it. All I do is give it a good liming and maybe a sprinkle of bone meal at the most. But I've got spare muck this year, so I'm going to hive it muck down, get Roger to turn the whole plot in, get it all turned under. Then I'll give it a good liming, and then we'll set about putting the Jap onions and the garlics out in fortnight's time, 3 weeks time. Middle of September is fine for me. I never try to hurry them too much, because once you get yourself away, they start growing underneath, and that's all you want. You don't want too much top growth on them before the winter sets in. And I keep saying that it's the same with your spring cabbage. If you've got a good root system, if you grow them like I do in pots, which I'll show you how I go on with these. I grow all my cabbages, all my brassicas exactly the same way. I transplant them out of trays into small pots, small cups, whatever, getting a good root system on them, plant them that way, and that way they get away a lot quicker. And as I say, with spring cabbage, you don't want a great big growth on the top, because if you get a heavy winter, it'll kill them off, it'll flatten them. So if you just want a small growth and a nice root system, the roots will grow underneath, and they'll do exactly what it says on the packet. Come the springtime, they've got your root system built in, and they'll just romp away. And that's the secret of growing your Jap onions and your spring cabbage. So what we'll do, I've got, once again, from King's, I've got a Spring Hero. That's a nice round ball-headed cabbage. Fantastic. I'll be growing, there's quite a few in a packet here, but I'll only want 1 row of these, because these are my favourites. I like to grow these every year, and of course the real is Imperial. If you've watched this in my summer cabbage, they grow They grow great in summer cabbage, or they grow fantastic for a spring cabbage. They'll usually be grown in the polytunnel. So I'm not in a hurry to put them in, but what I will do is I'll start them off next week. I might have time this weekend to get them in. If I do, I'll finish a video off with that. But the main thing to do this week is to get a mix made up. I've done one through the week, and of course my generator's packed up on us, so that's another bit of a headache. It's just been one thing after another this year. We've had nothing but bother with the virus going around, this one thing and another, and of course what it hasn't done, it hasn't slowed us down from doing the repair work. What I managed to do before Storm Francis hit the other night was to get up the plot, and I had a new door made for the bottom polytunnel. I've done all the framework, I've done all the sills and everything, renewed all them with timber, painted them up, got a new door made for it, and when the new Storm Francis was going to hit, I says to the missus, I'm going to have to get up there, because there's no door on. I says, so I'll have to fit the new door and just wedge it shut with a bit of timber, which I did. And of course Storm Francis hit with it through the night, and it was torrential rain. Of course I was up the garden at the tea time, when I posted on my Facebook page, it poured down. But fortunately I managed to get the door fitted, and it saved the bottom point, because if them winds are getting up, and it was coming from the north, and of course them doors are facing north, if the wind had getting in there, we could have lost the tops of the polytunnel. So that was another job I had to get out the road. But for the time being, as I say, I'm down home. These are a couple of the peppers that have been growing down here. Now, that's the height they grow to. If you remember, really earlier in the spring, when I topped these plants, and the idea of topping them was because I've only got 3 foot of headroom from my desktop to the glass here. So I like to keep these nice and short. By the time I put them in a big pot, and this is the only feed that I've had, is what's in this pot, and it's my own compost, which I make all the time. Here's another cracking band of peppers here. I've cut all the foliage away, so you can have a good look. Well, I've got these peppers of John Murphy. He's kindly sent us up some seed, and these, I'm really looking forward to these ones. These are yellow bonnet, Scotch bonnet, and no doubt they'll probably be as hot as what they say they are. I've got 2 or 3 of them ones. There's another nice little plant there, and it's really showing its colours there. I'm over the moon with them. They may be little, but I bet they're red hot. So thanks again, John, for them. As I say, there's no better way of growing your peppers this way, just in small pots. And as I say, they've had no extra feed whatsoever since they put it up in warm compost. The 3-2-1 mix, which I'll show you when we get up the plot, because that's what I'm going to be making up for the strawberries. And I'll make a mix up, and then we'll get started on our baskets. We've got our strawberry baskets to fill up, get them done. I've got the last of the rooted runners taken off from 2 of the bigger plants, the Singer Giganta and the other large one I had a couple of late cuttings, I've just taken them off. So what I'm going to do with the mother plants is put more on the back bench, out the road, down the bottom of the garden, in between the polytunnel and the neighbour's fence, and they'll be nice and secure from any winds, and they'll just stand there all over the winter. But the baskets are a different story. What we'll do with the baskets, why I got the taters due up this week, is because we'll put a row of baskets along there. It's a nice deep trench, and it's going to give them a little bit of protection from the winds. So we'll fill the baskets up, and the baskets will just sit on the ground. Even though the jack onions have been planted, I'll leave enough room that we can just sit the baskets on the ground, put them on a little tilt, which is essential if you're going to follow the way we grow ours, putting a bag in the basket, putting a plastic bag inside the basket, and then you've got all your watering, all your feeding to hand. You don't waste anything, there's no runoff. You just be very careful with your watering, and as I say, be very careful with your feeding, because everything that you put in stays in, nothing gets wasted. And that's how we like to grow our baskets, and we always get a first class crop. But we'll talk about that, as I say, once we get up the plot. I'll go through it stage by stage. Ideally I like to get my baskets done late September, but it's September next week, so we'll get the mix made up. We'll get some compost out of the muck bins. That's homemade compost, fantastic stuff. I use it all the time, and the one down here that I brought down the other day, I've made up, and it's absolutely marvellous. It's got a little bit of perlite in this one that I had left over. I just shoved that in because I was busy potting up a few plants. That's all I've been doing down here. Once I cleared the tomatoes off, that's a lemon. I put a couple of lemon seed in. The daughter wanted a plant grown, so I stuck a couple of lemon seed in there, well, and it's rotting away. The 20th of the 6th, 20. Perfect little lemon plant there. And of course these ones here, I've got these given. So I had to bring them indoors, and of course these are the bougainvilleas. I see all of that Spain and that. They were fantastic one, full flower. So what I did, I brought them inside now because it's a bit warmer inside here, not as cold, and they'll sit out here in the winter in small greenhouse. I can take them up the plot if I want, if I get short of space, but no doubt I'll get sorted out one of these days. Now there's a plant I need to sort out, and this is the yellow. I've got the white lilies over there. There's Antedesha. This is the yellow one. Now the yellow and the red ones, they're not very good for growing outside. Grow them in pots by all means, but you've got to bring them inside in the winter because they're not frost tender. They're hardy, not like the white ones are. Well, this is one of the yellow ones. What I'm going to do with this one, it hasn't flowered this year. I'm not bothered about that. I'm going to repot it just before it starts dying back, and there's two young little shoots there. Two little side shoots. I'll take them off, and that gives us 3 plants for next year. So it's just a way of expanding your plants and building your stock up. But that's it for the time being. I chopped that down the other day, the sunflower. They're a bit poor this year because the winds caught them when they were at a most critical time. The heads are just forming, and of course with the storm we had, and they were facing north and they got clobbered. All the leaves got burnt, the heads got whacked. So I've saved one of the heads there, I brought it down, and hopefully I'll be able to save a little bit of seed from there. But it's been a challenging year for a lot of people. Been some great crops. A lot of people posting on the Facebook pages some smashing crops. We've had quite a few good crops, so can't complain about a fantastic crop of tomatoes. Cucumbers have been great. The fruit has been absolutely marvellous. I've been taking the pears off the pear tree. Monster, lovely big pears on them. Plums, we've had a load of plums. I managed to cut the plum tree down because I hadn't been touched for 3 years. But it's having me accident. Same as the building work, I hadn't been touched for 3 years. But you know, that's all stuff we can catch up on. It's your health's the main important thing. But I'm hoping to do that in the next couple of months. Get all our building work done. Get back on track for next year. Once all that's done, we can look forward to having a great gardening year next year, and hopefully get a couple of videos out every month, or at least once a week if we can. I know it's been challenging this year, to say the least, and we're still not out of it not by a long run. We've just got to be very careful, especially with the wife being shielding for the last 3 months. With her being in the group most vulnerable, I've just got to be very careful. I still haven't been out yet, so we'll see how it goes anyway. But as I say, we'll get ourselves a plot. We'll do a couple of hours up there, and we'll try and keep our distance from as many people as we can. But that's just one of them things until it sorts itself out. But yeah, I thought I'd get a couple of pictures for John Murphy to show him how what peppers and what chilies have been grown. Absolutely fantastic over the moon with that. What I didn't mention, and I think I'll use this one as a rare, I'm going to grow one of these over the winter, because I know with chilies you can cut the plant back, and if you keep it in a cool atmosphere or a frost-free atmosphere, you can regrow the stem for next year. I've seen a few people do it. I've never tried it before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look it up online. I know there's quite a few people doing it. I think John Murphy's done it. So what I'm going to do, John, is I'm going to one of them I'm going to keep. I'm going to trim all the main stem back. Well, parts of it's dropping off there now. Stake it up, and then cut. Once all the fruits are off, cut them back to about 3 inches, just so all you've got is a main stem and 3 pieces of shoot here, about 2 inches long, and that'll be the piece that I keep and overwinter it. And then hopefully next year, the root system's already there, your main branches are there, and hopefully we'll see a load of new cuttings, new shoots come off them old branches and form a whole new bush on top. But that's something I'm going to try this year for next year. But we'll see how it goes anyway. But for the time being, we'll finish off here and we'll get started at the plot. I'll get a mix made up, get started on the mix, get the rest of the baskets sorted out, get them cleaned up and get the covers put in them. We'll get the onions taken up, but we'll not do the onions till next video. I'm still waiting for the garlic to come, them haven't arrived yet. But we'll do the Jap onions in the next video, and the garlic, and of course we'll try and squeeze the spring cabbage in with the strawberries at the end of this video. But for the time being, time to get out the plot before the rain starts again. It's clouded right over again. We had another load of rain through the night. So the garden's really soaked, so it stopped me doing from any work. What I did do, I managed to get a couple of rows of me cabbages planted out, the autumn cabbages that I planted there a few weeks ago. I grew them on pots and I planted them out the other night, and they're getting a good watering in, so I'll keep them well happy. But for the time being, we'll shoot off at the plot, and we'll see what we can get done up there. Okay, see you all again soon. Okay, right, well, good afternoon everybody. Finally, after a few days of huffing and puffing and panting, we managed to get the Jenny sorted out. Big thanks to John and brother-in-law that come up and cleaned the fuel pipe, get the starter plug a good scraping, managed to get it up and running again, and then this morning me and Roger come up, filled it full of petrol, make sure it was working okay, and got the cement mixer working, and lo and behold, 2 full barrel loads of our own ready mix. Now, I keep saying to people, the mix we love to make. I've made it for years, and it's an easy enough mix. And of course, there's a bag full on the floor of ready mix, and this is just compost, straight out own compost bins. It's been put through a bread tray, just finely sieved, not too fine, you know, a little bit of roughage in it, and especially for potting off you need a little bit of roughage. And of course, multi-purpose compost, we compost out the mug bins, sharp sand and bone meal, and that's all we use, and that's it. I had a little bit of water this morning because the compost that we had, that we've just bought, the 3 bags, was really dry, it was dust dry, so I've mixed it in with a homemade compost, mixed the sand in, put a full container full of cold water, make it nice and moist, and of course this is the result, and it's absolutely marvellous. There's no smell from our own compost, nothing, and it's 3, 2, 1. So if you don't make a big mix like what we do, we had the cement mixer full twice, full at the top, and really 2 big full mixers is what we need, because if you notice in the background here, I've got all the baskets ready. I've just, me and Rich have been working with them, taking all the chains off, and that's a must, because what these are going to do, they're going to house the new strawberries for next year, but they're going to sit outside in the beds, and they're going to sit there till January. They'll only sit in this bed probably till about December, and then the bottom tables, either far side of the tunnel, where we've got that little pathway, we've got 2 tables there, we'll transfer them down there probably about December, so they're ready to be lifted inside the tunnels in early January. Now we'll do it in 2 lots. What we'll do, we'll bring the baskets in first in early January, and we'll bring the mother plants probably in around about the February time. Now that's one of the mother plants, and this is what I keep saying to people: if you want to grow good strawberries, if you do a 3-year rotation like what we do, the first year was our rooted cuttings, which was them, and I'm over the moon with them. They're fantastic. They'd been potted off from a small block. They were struck or rooted, pinned down in just a small 6 centimetre pot, and then we shifted them onto these a few weeks ago, and then there we have it, fresh with worms and all. Absolutely fantastic, just the way I like to have them potted off, and they're just at the right size for going into the baskets now. So we've got them ready, we've got our compost ready. I always like to use a pot to sit my bag on. I made another bit of mix up here because what I tend to do is to get a few of the spring cabbage sown, but I'll get these strawberries out of the way first. So what I've done here, we've still got our bags in. Here's our baskets here. Less the chains. I'll always take the chains off for you when they're going to sit outside, because I just don't see any reason for leaving the chains on and have them sit outside in all weather. So I'd rather take them off and just hang them up in the greenhouse where you know they're nice and safe, and then your baskets can just sit outside. Now what we like to do, we put them on the beds, and there's a little bit of lift on one bed, so by the time we put these down on the ground, they're going to have that bit shelter from the westerly winds. And with having the bags in, what you can do, I know they're going to be outside, but with having the bags in, you can just sit them on a tilt like that. And it means once they do get any heavy rains, once they get rooted, any heavy rains, they'll just run off. But we'll go through all that later on. But for the time being, I'll show you how we're like to get ours done. So that's a basket. It's got its coconut backing inside, and all it's got is a blue bag. These are the bags off last year. You can get 2 or 3 years out of some of these bags if you're tight like me and you want to save a few bob. Now the idea of putting a bag in, you've got full control of your watering and you've got full control of your feeding. Whatever you put in the bag stops in the bag. So you're not having any runoff, you're not having any wastage. So once they're hanging up, the only thing these will get is a fantastic compost we've made up, plenty of feed in there. They'll get nothing else until February, when we'll go around with a spoonful of sulphate of potash, and that's the only feed they'll get until they start fruiting. We might give them a bit of seaweed later on, a bit of comfrey, but 9 times out of 10, whatever we put in the basket is enough to see them through and get a really fantastic crop off them. Now if you remember, I sent away for these last year. I was really disappointed in them when they come as bare rooted plants, and these are the Albion, strawberry Albion. I was really disappointed, but I persevered. These are the actual plants, but this has been sprayed and sprayed and sprayed, and a fresh bucket of compost around it, and it's a first class plant. Now I never cut away any of the foliage. A lot of people say cut the foliage down. I don't. I never do. I leave it, let it die down naturally, because these are going to be sitting outside all the winter, and when they do fold over, there's a protection to that bit crown underneath, because the crown's just sitting on the top. You never bury a crown with a strawberry. They're just sitting on the top there. So right, so I've got a little bit of compost in the bottom here. I don't have to bother wetting these because these are quite moist, and all I do is I'm only going to put 2 in a basket, because they were pretty strong growers these, if I remember them. We didn't get much of a crop off them the first year, so I'm hoping these runners, the way I've grew them, are going to be a little bit better. You know, just tilt them slightly, just on a slant, just so they're facing out over. You could get 3 in the basket, but we've got 24 baskets to fill up. I've managed to get 60 good runners that I was happy with. Now, don't overfill that, because like you say, you've got your watering, you've got your feeding. You just want to tamp that in right around your plants. Take off any excess, and there we have it. That's our first basket done. Now I've got 24 of these ones to do, and I've got 6 large ones to put in this greenhouse here. So I'm just going to plod on with these and try and get all these done today. Hopefully I'll get quite a few of them done. That's a basket. Here's a finished product. Now that's just going to sit outside on the garden. What I've done this afternoon when I come up, I've spread the horse muck. We had about 8 bags of horse muck just thrown onto the plot where we took potatoes out last week. And of course for the Desiree potatoes, fantastic, great crop of them, some really nice big potatoes. So we dug them up, and what I've done, I don't usually muck when I'm putting Jap onions in, which is Jap onions here when I showed you. I brought these up because I've got a couple of white trays. What I like to do, I just like to open my onions up, take them out of the plastic bags as soon as they come, get them in some trays, get them some fresh air, and there they are. Absolutely marvellous, some lovely big bulbs, and they're centubular. I've grown these for
I can't remember how many years, it must be 20 years. But absolutely marvellous. They're just sitting on a tray there, they've got plenty of fresh air now. And of course, the same with the red electric. We'll open them up, get them out. Now these are always a small onion, I don't know why. There's some quite nice big ones amongst them, but there's a few tiny terrors amongst them, but no doubt we'll be able to do that. And of course the white snowball, we'll put them on that tray and all. So we've got 3 different kinds. That can stop there, that can sit on top, and he'll just sit in the back here. Quite easy. Even there, let the fresh air get to them, and they'll be ready for planting out in about a fortnight's time. But all I'm waiting for is the garlic to turn up. Once we garlic, I've got some garlic that I saved up last year. But, I've sent it away for some new stock once again. Isle of Wight, and I'm hoping for some first class produce from them. Right, I'll just check on this for time. It's not doing too bad. This is when I started the video off down home, I had my tripod in the greenhouse and I had it bouncing on a couple of bits of timber just to give it that bit of height that I needed. And of course when I come to take the camera off, it slipped off the tripod and my camera went down and damaged the lens. So hopefully this is the first time I've used this one. Dave, this is your camera, mate, that you gave us a few years ago. It's the first time I've had to try it, but this is a camera I'm using. What I'm going to do, I'm going to wait until the end of this year, near Christmas, and I'm going to send away from myself a new one. But for the time being, I'm just going to persevere with this. As I say, we've been really busy up here the last couple of weeks. Still plodding on. Managed to get the door on down there after before Storm Francis hit with brand new door on. It's all painted up, and I'm busy taking away some of the bottom skirtings along the sides of the tunnels now. I need a few staging boards, so I'm waiting for them to come, and hopefully we'll spend all the winter removing the old ones and replacing them, and have a solid polytunnel for the next 5 years. I have got a new cover to put on the big polytunnel, which I'll do that in February. Hopefully we'll get all turned around by then. It's been a funny old year, this one. We have had some really good crops, we've had some poor crops. Some of the carrots I thought they were doing really well, got a touch of carrot root fly on them, and of course they were just planted in amongst the Jap onions. So as I say, sometimes we win, sometimes we lose, but that's the way it goes. Tomatoes have been fantastic, some great crops, great cucumbers and that, so on the whole we're not doing too bad. But if we get all the building work out the road, and then we'll be crack on for next year, we'll be over the moon. Right, so I want to get on with the spring cabbage, and all I've got here is my multi-purpose compost again, made up, but what I've added is a couple of handfuls of perlite, and that just makes it even lighter. Nice light mix. Now these are pre-soaked. Once again, fresh water out the tap, not out your barrels, because when people sow seed and they soak them with water out your barrels, in a couple of weeks time you'll find a green moss, fungi, lichen, anything growing on the top, and that's a no-no. That's going to kill the seeds off or stop them from growing through straight away. So just be careful with that. .11 just be careful with that. As I say, nice fresh water, and that way you're not going to any diseases growing on the top. Your seeds will grow through nice and healthy. It's beginning of February, so beginning of September, so here we'll go again, seed sown. And of course this is what Wheeler's Imperial. Now I grow this every year. There's loads of different ones here. Durham Earlies, I grow them quite well for outside, but these are the ones I grow for inside. And the reason I grow for inside, because we've got that much space in the polytunnels, we can afford to have one polytunnel just full of cabbage. Not only do we get a great crop, but the cabbage cleans the soil forward, so we never have to change our soil in the greenhouses. People say, oh yeah, it gets stale after a couple of years. With us it doesn't, because we just keep changing around. We can revolve ours year in, year out. Tomatoes, cabbage, potatoes, because we've got the 3 big greenhouses, we can have a different crop in every year. And that way, by putting the cabbage in, the cabbage takes out all your nutrients, everything, all the salts, everything that's built up. The cabbages will take all that out, and you've got a neutral soil come next year. What we'll do once the cabbage comes out, we'll give it a good mucking, good liming, check the numbers with our little probes in it, get a soil reading, add to whatever you need, and then we'll get a fantastic soil for tomatoes or whatever's following up the potatoes. Now these, I think there's 140 or 150 in the bag. I just looked at it before. No, I've lost it again. I probably ripped the corner off. Yeah, 450 seeds. So I'm only going to put half these, even a full-size seed tray. I'm only going to put half them in, so that's 200 seeds. And I'm going to broadcast them. That's all. Just very lightly over the top. Now with these, you don't want much heat. They're going to be fine in here. I can put them up on the top here. I've got a shelf up here on the top. Now just a fine covering again of the same compost. But what you don't want to do is to put them somewhere in the dark corner or where they're going to be struggling for light. Yeah, that's fine. That. Hold the moment that's the first one. Now it's what I need to do with that is to get a marker, write the marker out, get it pinned in there, and that's our first one. Now that's a Wheeler's Imperial. Oh, they're fantastic. The compost underneath is nice and soaked, well soaked. The seeds will be on the top making contact, fresh compost on the top, and they either go on there or on the back shelf here, but it's full light, right up where they're getting all the light they need. I'll leave them up on there like that. As soon as I walk through the greenhouse, the first thing I see is my seeds, so they never dry out. I can just lift them off there, put them in a tray of water, let the tray soak the water up, which I always do, water from down below, and just let them grow away. And once they get a nice size, and then we'll pot them off. Put them off into cups, pots, whatever, and then they'll just be growing on in a cold polytunnel down the bottom end there. Hopefully that'll be for another couple of weeks. We're just checking this timing again. As I say, I'm not quite used to this camera yet, but there's 6 minutes till me on me, so I'm going to stop this camera now. Right, okay, I'm back on it. Oh, well, I'm here. That's a grapevine over in the corner that I had grew just for show. It's some fantastic bunch of grapes on. These are the inside beetroots. It's absolutely marvellous crop of them. We've got some carrots over there. It's just two big water butts that were cut in half, and we've had them standing at the top here. We've had some fantastic crops out of them. I can't complain. Okay, well hopefully that's another 22 minutes. I'm not going to talk for another 22 minutes, but I wanted to flood on and show you what we've been up to. And there's where, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago I sowed the pansy. You always get the odd weed coming through. That's the only trouble with my compost. My homemade compost, I get loads of weeds coming through, but once you know your weeds from the seeds, it's a doddle. Now these are just about coming to that, filling that pot. Now these are just keep checking the bottom for once the roots come through. Once the roots get to the bottom, they're ready for potting on, and they'll go into there. Quite happily sitting in there for 2 or 3 weeks, ready for middle of October for planting out into baskets. Loads of time yet for pansies. I've got trayfuls of polyanthus down there, pansies, sweet william, wallflowers, loads of wallflowers. They're outside there on the back bench. They've been sitting out there since I potted them off. They don't want any mollycoddling whatsoever, just sit them outside there. Just a bit of cover from the heavy rains, that's all, but they'll grow away great. That's the pansies. We'll pot them up next week. And I've got another tray here, well soaked, for me other cabbage. And of course these are the, once again, I'm going to be careful with these because I'm sure these are these are 115 seeds. Now these can grow quite a good size. These are the ball-headed cabbage. It's only one, Spring Hero. That's to get a round one, but you get a lovely cabbage from it. Really creamy, nice solid hearts. But once again, I'll be growing a row of them in a polytunnel alongside the Wheelers Imperial. So I'm going to do exactly the same. I've got to watch that packet in case I spill it, which is what I normally do. I only want to sow half of these because I'm going to make another sown in a week's time for people that want to put some. Actually no, I'll sow the full pack of these because there's only 115 seed. But I've got plenty of Wheelers Imperial. I'll make another sown of them next week, and that'll be for the few of the family and friends around the allotments that get a few cabbage plants off us, ready for planting out in the middle to the end of October in the garden. I'm not going to bother this year whatsoever because we've had that much trouble with pigeons. I even tried putting the cabbages down the bottom and covering them with the nests, and the caterpillars still got into them. Even though I had sprayed with garlic and everything, but put the nets over, they still got in. So I'm not going to bother. Next year I'm going to go back to growing the little mini core. These are the really small cabbage, bowl head cabbage, but they're absolutely marvellous. I'm going to grow them, and hopefully I can make a small cage, a shallow cage right over with some mesh. The fine green mesh that I've got along the sides of the polytunnels, I've got a roll of that, and I'm going to make some square boxes with a mesh over. You can just sit over on the top. They'll fit the bed, but they'll only be about a foot high. We'll make a few of them, 2 or 3 of them, we'll mesh over, and then we'll just place them on top of the cabbage, and that's the only way we're going to be able to keep them goddamn butterflies, the cabbage weight, out of the brassica beds. They're lovely to see, the butterflies, but as I say, when they're landing on your crops and infesting it with the caterpillars, it's not so funny. So there we have it. Within 5 minutes, let's see. Now the Spring Hero is in the black. That's that tree up there. All I've got to do is write 2 markers out. That's finished with. That needs to go back into there. So still 100 seed in there. I'll sow them next week. And as I say, they can go in for family and friends. All I've got to do now is a bit tidying up. You tidy up as you go. It's off the bottle. That's it. So I hope I've helped you a bit with them strawberries. You can see, first basket done, spring cabbage in, Japanese onions ready. You can sit there for a week, 2 weeks. Normally I like them out in the middle of September, start planting them out. The rain's just started. Good old northeast weather again. Had a little bit of sunshine at the time. I wasn't focused to rain till tonight, so I thought I'll come up early this afternoon, get the video done, and get these few plants done before the rain come. I'm glad I've come up early because it's just starting to pitter pat off the roof now. It's a shame because it's been quite a nice day, but what I managed to do outside was spread that muck, so the rain's going to just wash out in nicely now, and then Roger can come along a couple of days time and just lightly turn it in, and I'll give it a really good liming, and it's all ready for the Jap ones to be planted out in a fortnight's time. And of course once the garlic arrives I'll plant them both out together. We'll do a video on that. A video on the garlics and the Jap onions. I always like to leave plenty of space. I'll only put 4 rows in that big massive bed there. I like to leave plenty of space so I can get a row of carrots in between them in the spring. And that way it does give you a little bit of protection from carrot root fly. With that being a high bed, what I can do is to put a wire right down the middle, drape some mesh over the top of them, or some green plastic meshing over the top, and that may keep the carrot root fly, give it a double whammy. And but we'll try that next year. There's always things to try, things to do, things to get on with, but we'll see how it goes anyway. As I say, we've got a lot of building work to do at the moment. I'm busy collecting pallets. I've been for a couple of pallets this morning, the big heavy blue ones. I want 10 of them, and what I'm planning to do is to put a pathway right through the 2 polytunnels in the greenhouse, a solid wooden pathway right through with pallets. It's nice, easy to walk on. I'm going to put some guttering along there, the part of the greenhouse in the shed at the bottom end where we've never had. I'll put some guttering there. It's going to keep a lot of the rainwater off that pathway, because at the moment when it rains heavy it's just like a quagmire, and if you haven't got your wellies on it's just impossible. So it's a definite job for what I do. I'll show you when I get started. As soon as I've got enough pallets, I'll do a video. We'll do all the marking out, place all the pallets in it. I've got some weed suppressant I just sent away for. I'll put the black membrane down first, put some pieces of flagstone in each corner, sink the pallets on there, and hopefully it should be nice and strong for a good 5 or 6 years yet. As I say, by then me and Reg will be getting into our 70s, so I think we'll be maybe for a little bit of help around the plot then. It's we're starting to tell them now, but we'll still enjoy it. As I say, that's the main thing. But that's it for this week. I know I haven't getting a video done every week like I was promising, but as I say, the building work's still going on. We've got loads to do, so I'm going to spend all winter plodding on, getting everything put right, getting this shed finished, get the 2 polytunnels all repaired, new timbers, and then it's good to go for another 5 or 6 years. As I say, next year all we've got to concentrate on is the planting. I'm not going to be growing as much stuff as what I did this year, because I'll be cutting back on a lot of the flowers. As I say, it's not so much for the family and the friends, it's people that I used to grow for orders. I'm cutting back on a lot of that now because I simply don't have the time. And whether or not I hit the greenhouse from October or January is still something I'm coming to terms with. I've got onion seed, I've got onions down there, I've got leeks down there, good leek heads. But whether or not to set them away in September, it means putting the heat on, putting my light on, and it's burning all that electricity from then. And if I'm not showing, I know it's just a hobby for me, but I'm thinking about just setting them away in January, and that's going to save me 3 months electricity, 3 months of heating. You know, it's one of them things you look at. If you don't need it, do away with it. And of course, I don't have to have any heat at all until my tomatoes are going in the middle of February, end of February, when I start throwing tomato seed. I'll have a little bit of heat on them, and that'll be fine. Most of my summer flowering plants come up in the cold weather anyway, just sown in a cold greenhouse, and they grow really well. Just a little bit of shelter fun, they're quite happy. But we'll go through all that as the year goes on. Hopefully we'll get a better year than what we've had this year. We're still being careful, we're still shielding, we don't go out as much as what we used to do. But you know, that's the thing at the moment. I just hope that they find a cure soon, and that they start moving on again, get out of this virus situation. But for the time being, as I say, I'm going to call it a day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you can't wait for the videos, get us on our Facebook page. I haven't posted as much as what I've liked to do over the last few weeks. I haven't been taking any photographs of the jobs we've been doing, but hopefully all that will change in the next few weeks. We'll start and get back on there. We're starting to get back on track and let you know exactly what we're doing day by day. But for the time being, don't forget to comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you all again in maybe it's a week to a fortnight's time for the next video. Okay, bye for now.